Recently Zhang Chao went back to England to attend the Oxford Union and gave a powerful speech to the students and faculty. He graduated ranking first valedictorian class of 2009 when he was 18 years old with a master degree dual majors in medicine and architecture. Then after that he attended one of the most prestigious performance art school in the world. You can listen to his speech only. Please do not ask me to upload the entire video and audio. Last time I did a few minutes of the entire video, YouTube strike me with an X. If you want to watch the entire Oxford Union speech from Zhang Chao, please log into Baidu, Weibo, Youku. They have it under Talk Asia channel.
I never thought I would be addressing you, the esteemed members of the Oxford Union, without a guitar or an erhu, but I did perform at the O2 Arena in London last week. I'm not sure if any of you were able to make that, but in many ways that was similar to what I'm talking about today. That is, introducing Chinese pop music to you. See, I'm actually an ambassador for Chinese pop, whether I like it or not, both music and movies, and today I'm here to give you the State of the Union address. It's not the Oxford Union, it's the Union of East and West. I want to frankly, openly, and honestly talk about how we've done a good job, or how we've done a bad job, of bringing Chinese pop to the West. And I also want to impress upon all of you here today the importance of that soft culture, that soft power exchange, and how each of us is involved in that. Coined by Rhodes scholar and Oxford alum Joseph Nye, is defined as the ability to attract and persuade. Shashi Tharoor called it in a recent TED Talk, the ability for a culture to tell a compelling story and to influence others to fall in love with it. I like that definition. China is not just those headlines, the burgeoning economy or the unique politics. It's not just the world's factory or the next big superpower. It's so much more. 1 billion people with rich culture, amazing stories, and as a product of both of those cultures, I want to help foster understanding between the two and help create that incredible relationship. Because knowing both sides of the coin, I really think that there is a love story waiting to be told, waiting to unfold. And I'm only half joking when I say love story, because I believe it is the stories that will save us, will bring us together. And my thesis statement for today's talk is that the relationship between the East and West needs to be and can be fixed via pop culture. That's a big fat claim, and I'm going to try and back it up. Now, the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon said, "There are no languages required in the musical world. That is the power of music. That is the power of the heart. Through this promotion of arts, we can better understand the culture and civilizations of other people. In this era of instability and intolerance, we need to promote better understanding through the power of music." Now, the UN Secretary General thinks we need more music, and I think he's right. Music and arts have always played a key role in my life in building relationships, replacing what once was ignorance, fear, and hatred with acceptance, friendship, and even love. And I was facing, for the first, but definitely not the last time, the harsh reality that I was a minority in Rochester, which in those days had an Asian population of 1%. And I was confused. I wanted to punch Brian. I wanted to hurt him for putting me in that situation, but he was faster than me and he was stronger than me and he would have kicked my butt, and we both knew that, so I just took it in. And I didn't tell anyone or share with anyone these feelings. I just held them in and I let them fester. And those feelings would surface in a strangely therapeutic way for me through music. And it was no coincidence that around that time I started getting good at the violin and the guitar and the drums. And I would soon discover that by playing music or singing, other kids would, for a brief moment, forget about my race or color and accept me and then be able to see me for who I truly am. A human being who's emotional, spiritual, curious about the world, and has a need for love just like everyone else. I learned that music wasn't just about connecting with others, like Brian and I were connected through music. It was a powerful tool of influence and inspiration. Sam Nguyen, he was an immigrant from Vietnam who barely spoke a word of English. Sam swept the floors and cleaned the bathrooms at our school for 20 years. And he never talked to the kids, and the kids never talked to Sam. But one day, before the opening night of our school's annual musical, he walked up to me holding a letter. And I was taken aback. I was thinking, why is Sam the janitor approaching me? And he gave me this letter that I've kept to this day. It was scrawled in a shaky hand, written in all capitals, and it read, "In all my years of working as a janitor at Sutherland, you're the first Asian boy to play the lead role. I'm going to bring my 6-year-old daughter to watch you perform tonight because I want her to see that Asians can be inspiring." And that letter just floored me. I was 15 years old and I was absolutely stunned. That's the first time I realized how music was so important. With Brian, music helped two kids who were initially enemies become friends. But with Sam, music went beyond the one-on-one. It was an even higher level. It influenced others I didn't even know in ways I could never imagine. I can't tell you how grateful I am to Sam the janitor to this day. He really is one of the people who helped me discover my life's purpose. And I had no idea that something I did could mean more than I ever imagined to an immigrant from Vietnam who barely even spoke English. Pop culture, music, and the other methods of storytelling, movies, TV dramas, they are so key, and they do connect us. It's beginning to be kind of like a world pop, and that's what I'm looking forward to, and that's what I'm focusing on these days. There was J-pop, there was K-pop, there was C-pop, and there's like this W-pop that's kind of starting to emerge, this world pop. And I think, yeah, I love that idea, that it's not world music. It's not like, there used to be a section in HMV called world music. That was like ethnomusicology class in college. No, but world pop is more about breaking and tearing down age-old stereotypes, the artificial confines that have kept us apart for way too long. It's a melting pot and it's a mosaic that even when we look up close, we'll still see the colors and the flavors of each culture in detail. And where can we go to listen to world pop? I don't think there's a world pop station or a magazine, unfortunately. There are none, there should be. But there's the internet, and YouTube has proven to be a driving force of world pop. Britain's Got Talent made Susan Boyle the hottest act in the world, and she achieved that not through the record labels or the networks, but through grassroots sharing. Gangnam Style is another great example of how that just took over and became a huge worldwide world pop phenomenon. So world pop also suggests a worldwide pop culture and something that can be shared by all of us and give us a lot of common ground. Build and protect that roommate relationship between the East and West. Value this relationship and take ownership of it. Don't come to Oxford as an exchange student from Taiwan and only hang out with other Chinese students. Why would you do that? You could do that back in Wuhan or Nanjing or wherever you came from. Don't buy into the headlines or the stereotypes or into the hyper-nationalism. Think for yourselves. And this goes for the East and the West, both. Get to know one another and think for yourselves and don't believe the hype. For a moment, if we could just disregard the government and what the media is saying, just for the sake of argument, with our own tools of critical thinking, can we build relationships that actually see one another as individual human beings and not faceless members of a particular ethnicity or nationality? Of course we can do that. And that's the goal, and dream, I think of the romantic artist and the musician. I think it's always been that. And that's what I wish for. And that's what makes music and art so powerful and so true. It breaks down instantly, disintegrates all the artificial barriers that we've created between each other, government, nationality, black, brown, yellow, white, whatever color you are, and shows each other our hearts, our fears, our hopes, and our dreams. And it turns out, in the end, that the East isn't that far after all. And the West, well, the West ain't so wild. And through understanding each other's popular cultures, we gain insight into each other's hearts and true selves. And for those of you who are just beginning that journey to the West and East, I want to invite you today on this amazing journey with me. I just want to wrap up saying that being here in the Oxford campus really makes me nostalgic for my days at Williams. And when I look back on those 4 years, some of my fondest memories, or Jason's stories about wanting to make violins and to live in Cremona, Italy, like Antonio Stradivari. And he did do that. And I'll never forget, many years later, when I played a Jason Price handmade violin for the first time, and how that felt. They were always attentive and respectful when I'd tell them about what it was like for me growing up in a Chinese household with strict parents who made me study. So we shared stories, but the strongest bonds between us were formed just sitting around and listening to music together. And I really do see that as a model for East and West. So that's why I want to share Chinese music with you today, because it's the best way I know how to create the lasting friendships that transcend all barriers and allow us to know each other truly, authentically,